options we've all been talking about: Anderson, Baliba and Wharton. Now, you've had a quick look at those three and their numbers this season. They're not all exactly the same, are they, in terms of midfield?
Look, you can determine numbers in different ways, but we're going to have a look at them now on the screen. You'll just see some comparison between the three right now. And you see, look, Anderson's played a lot this season. The difference in successful passes is huge, actually. But Anderson's stats just match up so heavily. Carlos Baliba hasn't had a great season. It's, I think, pretty fair and obvious for everybody to see. He was fantastic last season, struggled a little bit this season. And remember, there was talk in the summer about a link of Manchester United interested in Carlos Baliba. Adam Wharton's an interesting one. Crystal Palace remain resolute that he's one for the future for them. They want to build the team around him. But Steve Parish has also spoken recently about the fact he knows he's an ambitious young player and eventually at some point he'll want to play Champions League football. But he has a long contract at Crystal Palace. Anderson's got a long contract. Carlos Baliba's tied down at Brighton. Whichever one you pick, it's going to cost a lot of money in the summer.
Who's going to be the cheapest, do you think, of those three?
For me, I would say the cheapest probably, I think you'd be able to get Adam Wharton for cheaper than the other two. I think because of what happened with Moises Caicedo at Brighton and the value they put on him and obviously the amount of money they recruit from Chelsea for that, I think they'll look at Carlos Baliba and go, well, hold on a minute, we see you as potentially being as good as Moises Caicedo, so we won't accept anything below, say, 100 million. Elliot Anderson, for me, has been terrific. For me, he's the standout option for Manchester United as a defensive midfielder. We've not just seen his impact at Nottingham Forest, we've seen his impact at England. And you mentioned about Kobbie Mainoo and the fact he was starting in that central midfield role before. Elliot Anderson's come in, perhaps surprising at the start when he came in. But he hasn't put a foot wrong. He's been excellent and he's been able to unleash Declan Rice further forward. For me, it's Elliot Anderson. I think he's probably in the middle of Wharton and Baliba in terms of how much he'll cost. Yeah.
Do you agree with that? If you take the cost out of it, say they all cost the same, which of those three would you pick to play alongside Kobbie Mainoo in the midfield?
I agree with James. I just think Elliot Anderson's head and shoulders above the other two at the moment. I think his growth as a player. I also think, I know he comes under the bracket as a defensive midfielder, but I think he can play as an 8 as well. I think he shows that he's got not only ability to link the play and take it off the centre halves, and you see with the amount of passes he makes. I mean, I made a comment when they played City that, for me, Elliot Anderson looked more like a City player than Gonzalez did when they played against each other. But I think he can do both roles. So if there was an opportunity to obviously go in a big club like Man United, I think you'd look to take it. But if I'm being honest, I think there'll be other takers for Elliot Anderson, which might be further forward than Man United are.
Yeah, I think there'll be a queue of suitors, and you make a good point. I mean, I think he grew up in Newcastle, actually playing more of a 10 when he was younger. But he's somebody who's learnt his trade. He went on loan to Bristol Rovers for a short period, helped get them promoted, scoring 6, assists 6 as well. He was such a big part of that.
So this is somebody as well, hasn't he?
He's played on the wing at Newcastle as well. And then obviously, if you see Newcastle, they didn't want to sell him. Eddie Howe's been very open about the fact that he never wanted to get rid of him. It was PSR reasons that determined that. But actually, it's probably been the best move for him, because you look at that Newcastle midfield, Tonali, Joelinton, Guimaraes. He might have struggled to get in there, which seems remarkable considering how well he's played. But I agree with Jody. I think Manchester United might be one suitor, but there'll be a whole host of suitors for Elliot Anderson.
The only thing I would say is that probably the type of player, if you wanted him to play with Kobbie Mainoo, it might lean towards Baliba, because he's a bit more of a breaker-upper. Right. And that could be a bit more in the mould of, say, a Casemiro, a younger version. But the form, like James said, I think his form's been really poor since the focus and spotlight has been on him, and some players can deal with that. And I have to say as well, I'm a fan of Adam Wharton's, and I think the higher level of team that he plays in, even though he's been playing in a hugely successful Palace team, I think you'll even get more from him because of the type of passes that he sees and the vision that he has in both feet.